Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And this is my first impressions look on Nike's cheapest hoop shoe that you can get right now. And even on sale, it's the cheapest shoe that you can get. It's crazy, right? So this is, of course, the Nike GT Jump Academy. And of course, this is a cheaper or budget version of the regular Nike GT Jump 2, I guess, right? So yeah, if you guys do want to cop, there are a good amount of colorways. I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. And if you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy through the affiliate link in the description box, or I'll try to leave it like right over here. But yeah, this shoe retails for $80, which is kind of insane. $80 is a crazy price. Good job on Nike for giving us a cheap shoe. But yeah, it's also on sale for like 56 bucks. Some of the colorways, which is absolutely insane. This is why I got this colorway. But also this red, it's like a red orange, you know, it's not super red. But yeah, this colorway also looks pretty dang good. So yeah, this obviously the GT Jump. You know, GT is the greater than series by Nike for basketball, and the Jump line is for people that want longevity and impact protection from the cushion. Which of course we used to have the Run, which turned into the Hustles, and of course we have the GT Cut, which is more for guards, people that want a little bit more responsiveness, right? So yeah, let's get started right off with the Tracciones, and yeah, we have a like a red color, right, for the entire outsole, and then it gets a little bit more orange at the tip of the toe. We have this triangle shape here in the forefoot, and then we have a circle. That circle is the heel as well. And then here in the middle of the outsole, we have this kind of like window exposing the foam, right? So how does the traction feel? Oh my goodness, it actually surprised the hell out of me. It feels really freaking good. It has a nice bite on my wood floors as well, and it has a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which has nothing to do with performance, but surprisingly, this shoe has a very nice loud squeak. So yeah, I mean, it feels really nice for the bite. I'm very excited to try these because of that. However, we'll have to see on the dust performance. I mean, there is a lot of dust on my wood floors. Of course, I have 2 dogs. And yeah, because of that, there's, dog hair and dust. And these shoes seem to be biting through that dust and dog hair pretty well on my wood floor. So we'll see. We'll have to see on the actual basketball court. It's just, my wood floors have a different finish than the actual basketball court. However, it feels pretty dang nice for dust performance, which I'm very excited about. Also for durability, you should be fine. I mean, this is the craziest rubber I've seen for durability. I mean, look at how thick the grooves are, and also extremely deep, and the rubber is so hard too. So yeah, you should be good. This is probably one of the best options for outdoor use if you want good durability, right? So yeah, the traction is feeling really nice. It really surprised me. It feels really nice, right? Especially for only $80. So there's that. Moving on to the heel to toe transition. Overall, it feels a little bit stiffer than I would like, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape, and also really crazy. Look at this. Really crazy kind of like shape, it kind of like goes in, and this part is pretty much hollow. But yeah, it feels kind of smooth here in the heel, although this foam isn't super soft. And here in the forefoot, look at this. Like there's barely any curve, so it feels pretty flat, and also not a crazy amount of forefoot flex. I mean, it is able to flex, right? But it's not super easy, and also it's not super snappy feeling. It's not super springy right now. There is a little bit of springiness to it though, and of course torsional support seems really good, right? So yeah, overall heel to toe transition, it's a little bit flat, feels a little bit like a slapper, not super smooth, right? So there is the heel to toe transition, and now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup for $80 shoe from Nike, of course, they're not going to give us great cushion, and that kind of sucks, especially since this is the GT Jump Academy, and that's where they're supposed to give us good cushion for impact protection, better longevity, of course. Also, if we want to play a long time in a shoe and we need a lot more cushion, that's what they advertise this shoe line for, you know what I mean? So yeah, $80, they're giving us a pretty stiff and crappy cushioning setup, which kind of sucks. So it says in their tech specs that they're using a pair of soft foams that are stacked on top of each other, right? And obviously, like I said, it's made for impact protection. So yeah, I mean, it's not that nice though. You know what I mean? It feels okay. So first of all, the core feel is okay. I would say it's like around average, you know what I mean? But it feels plush, as in like in the sense of it doesn't hurt my feet when I'm kind of like walking and a little bit jumping. I haven't played in these yet, of course. So I feel like overall impact protection seems like it'll be pretty good. You know what I mean? But other than that, like there's no feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of compression here in the heel, nothing amazing. Underfoot cushion seems okay, you know, kind of soft, but you know. And the step-in comfort also isn't super nice, right? The insole is not that nice. It's a really cheap feeling foam, not super plush. And underneath that, look at that. It's just so freaking stiff for the snowboard. Like it's so freaking glued down. So the underfoot cushion, not that nice. It just feels kind of plush in the sense of, like I said, it's just like a good impact protection because the foam feels a little bit thicker, you know what I mean? The forefoot definitely gets a little bit more dead. So yeah, I mean, obviously you can't really complain because this shoe's 80 bucks and on sale for 56 bucks, right? So that you're just like, okay, fine. But again, they are saying this is the GT Jump Academy, and if you're gonna be advertising that, I feel like they should give us a little bit more cushion, you know? But I guess I'm gonna say this though, for 80 bucks it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's not bad. But without putting price into account, this cushioning setup just doesn't feel that good right now. So there is the upper there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is actually not too bad, right? So we have a textured mesh upper, right? And Nike uses this type of mesh material in a lot of their kind of like cheaper shoes, but I really like this mesh material because it doesn't feel super crappy. It doesn't feel super cheap, you know what I mean? Like a crap mesh from a long time ago, Nike used to use a different mesh material which felt super cheap to me. But this one, it's a little bit thicker, but also because of that, it's a little bit softer as well, right? It's able to kind of like, it has a little bit of give to it. Conforms to my foot pretty well. Again, it's not the most minimal feeling upper, but it makes it feel cozy, you know? And also it feels pretty dang supportive too. So yeah, I do like the overall material choice. We have a mini swoosh here on the medial side, and then the swoosh that kind of dips into the midsole a little bit. You know, we have this kind of like cutout design for the swoosh, which is pretty cool. We got this line too. Just cool, I guess. And we also have a different kind of like textile material here in the back of the shoe, right? And for the tongue, we have another kind of like textile material, and it's not an open mesh, so it's not the best for ventilation. And then also for the tongue, we actually, like, it's like an average amount of padding, you know? It says GT Jump Academy here on top of the tongue as well. And it's also an independent tongue. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I feel like because it does have an eyelet right over here on the tongue, it's not gonna, the tongue's not gonna move around too much, but for a better fit, in most modern basketball shoes, you know, give us a half booty construction tongue, but not a huge deal, right? Also here in the back of the shoe, it's like an average amount of padding, you know what I mean? Like the foam feels pretty nice, but it's not super thick and super plush, you know? So yeah, it's actually not that bad, you know? I feel like it's more for bigger dudes. Yeah, it's a thicker material, it's a little bit more supportive, but still soft. You know what I mean? If you want a very minimal feeling upper, this definitely isn't the best option, right? But also, again, the quality seems pretty dang good for the $80 price tag. So there is the material there. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and this shoe fits me pretty dang well, right? So yeah, lengthwise, there's a little bit of length, but you know, I'm good to go. Yeah, because look at this. Freaking pointy, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's a little bit of length, but it's not that bad, right? Also for the width, it is pretty narrow. I mean, right here, it's not bad, right? Especially where my pinky toe is. But you know, once I get a little bit more into the edge of the toe box, it does get pretty dang narrow. So yeah, if you want to really snug fit lengthwise, then maybe go true to size, but be careful of the width. I feel like, you know, just going true to size, most people will be fine, even though there's gonna be a little bit of length because of this kind of like really skinny and pointy shape here in the toe, right? And also for the toe box, it's not super snug. It's around normal kind of like snugness, right? So it's not super snug to the point where I can't curl my toes up, but it's not super roomy to the point where I hate it, you know what I mean? It's just, it's kind of there. I wish it was a little bit more snug for me, in my personal opinion, but I feel like most people will be fine. So there is the fit there. And now moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, I feel like it'll be pretty dang good, right? So first of all, as far as lateral containment goes, we got the outsole. Look, this is just rubber. It comes up acting as a sidewall here, and also this material is very, very supportive feeling. You know what I mean? It doesn't even like really roll over on itself. So it's a really nice kind of like structural rigidity to it, even here in the toe box, but also here in the midfoot, right? And then here in the heel, and also kind of like in the midfoot, we do have the foam coming up acting as a sidewall, and there's an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels good. The overall shoe is a very sturdy, you know, stiffer feeling shoe as well, especially for torsional support. Also, we do have a higher cut. It's not restricting my ankle movement too much though, so I actually do like that. I like to have a more free-flowing ankle when I'm hooping, you know. And also lateral stability feels pretty good. We do have a little bit of a pointy outrigger, you see that? So yeah, overall support and lockdown feels really good. That's supposed to be like a characteristic of the GT Jump series, right? So there's that. Now moving on to the weight. I mean, this shoe actually feels pretty dang, like, not as heavy as you would think, but it doesn't feel super lightweight, right? Yeah, it comes in at 11.85 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.65 ounces, right? So yeah, this shoe is a lot lighter than average. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, but that's for like the past 10 years, you know what I mean? But for the past year, right, it's the shoes have been really freaking lightweight. You know, I would say average around 12 to like 11.5 ounces. So either way, yeah, this shoe is pretty dang lightweight, but it feels like a little bit stiffer and also a little bit more rigid. You know what I mean? Because the number weight, you know, it can be super light, but if you have a really stiff material and also stiff sole, it makes it feel a little bit different, you know? For example, like, you know, the Lucas or the Sabrina 2s, they're also lightweight, but it's just a really nimble and flexible shoe. This is a lot stiffer feeling, especially with the upper as well, so it's just a different feel, you know? But it feels really lightweight for how supportive this shoe feels right now. So there's that. Moving on to the aesthetics, I feel like they did a really good job. It looks really good. Here in the heel, it looks really nice as well with this design, this kind of like hollowed out kind of midsole. That looks pretty dang cool. I love the swoosh that kind of goes into this part as well. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, this shoe's feeling actually really nice. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not made for guards, you know, or people that want like a more responsive feel. It's more made for like bigger dudes who prioritizes like a little bit more cushion, a little bit more support, you know what I mean? And also want a little bit more of like a stiffer, more rigid upper, you know? But I'm liking it, you know what I mean? It definitely feels so much better than the GT Hustle Academy. That shoe felt so cheap, so crappy. Still, obviously my favorite is the GT Cut Academy, but that shoe is really old. I wonder when they're gonna come out with the 2, GT Cut Academy 2 or the GT Cut 4? You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, for 80 bucks, it's feeling really nice. And also, with the sale, 56 bucks, this shoe's feeling really, really nice. You know what I mean? But I just wish the cushion was a little bit better. You know, at least give us like Cushlon or something, you know? But again, I haven't played in these yet. Maybe the cushion might get a little bit softer once I break it in. But overall, you know, it does feel pretty nice for the price. If I'm going to be comparing it to my favorite hoop shoes, you know, that are around like 140, 150 bucks with better cushion, you know, and stuff like that, then obviously it doesn't compare. But with the price, it feels really nice, right? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Nike GT Jump Academy. Again, if you guys want to cop a, try to leave in the link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.